In today's video, I will show you real-time Docker troubleshooting and some most important Docker commands to become a DevOps engineer. First, I will give you the overview of the documentation. Then I will explain the documentation, and parallelly I will show you the hands-on demo. Before we start the video, just a quick reminder: if you haven't subscribed the channel, subscribe the channel, because after complete the 60-day course, I will also create cloud and DevOps related video which will help with professional career. So don't forget to subscribe the channel. Now let's start today's class. So firstly, we'll get a problem one. There I will show you if any service is not running, how the Docker going to crash and how you can fix this thing. Then there is a problem two, port not accessible. If that Docker container is not get the port, then how we can fix that thing I can explain here. Then problem 3, if container crash loop is happening, that thing will be show in that demo. Then problem 4 is image builder fail. So if why image going to fail and how we can fix that thing, we can discuss on that problem 4. Then I'll also give some pro tips Docker troubleshooting. There is some most important command you have to know, and I will show those command when show the hands-on. And for Docker setup version, you have to run that command. And for image related, all commands are here, and for container related, all commands are here, and volume related, all command you are here, network related command, and Docker file or image build related command are here. And for clean up your system, like remove Docker container, remove Docker image, those commands you can get it from here. And for save and load image, these commands are here below. So Docker login and Docker push command here, then Docker compose, and then useful one lines commands also put. So Docker run that nginx a0 report, simply run that command. For running MySQL environment, we can just simply run that command. So best practice, I also put what we need to use and how to use our Docker system. Those best practice I discuss here. So now let's explain everything details with hands-on. Problem is like when you are like running any container, if that container doesn't running any service, then that container will be right away stopped. Okay, so we need to make sure to run any container, we need to run any service in that container. So without running any service in that container, the container will be stopped right away. Okay, let me show the example. So if we run docker run ubuntu, so if we run docker ps, this is like already running in before that was not that container. So if I run docker ps -a, we can see this ubuntu is running, and it's right away it's exited, and it's just 11 seconds ago. So why this container is exited right away? Because there is nothing, any service running on that container, that's why it's exited. So like if I run any service, then it will be active and we can see the container is running. So for doing that, like if we add any terminal in that container, then it can be added. So let me run the command docker run -itd. So it is the indirectly terminal, so one terminal is running on that container, so the container will be running. So itd, then like ubuntu. So now if I type docker ps, we can see the container is running. See, the container is running because there is a service bash script or terminal is running on that container. So this is the service or anything is running in that container, then that container will be like running. So we can see the container is running now. So make sure we want to keep alive any container, we need to run anything there. So this type of problem we face. So another problem we are faced, like when we are running any container, that container is not accessible. Let me do the example. Just docker run, we just do it just mode, then we just give a name and we expose the port and the image name. So let me copy this. So I think this name is already running here. let me run it. 8080. So docker ps. So now we can see this container is running. Let me try localhost. Sorry, curl. You can also do this from the browser also. Curl localhost, and our port is 8080, but we are not able to access this. Authentication required. There is some problem. This is for like local PC. Let me run in the remote server. Docker ps. So let me run here because in my local PC some issues happening. So running docker ps, we can see the container is running. So if I type curl localhost, then we will see we are not able to access this page. You can see the connection is reset. So for that something is happening in the image. So first we need to check the image. So if we want to check the image, we are using the nginx image, docker image ls. So this image and the tag, so we can check the history to see the image layer. So history, then the image name. So we can see the layer. So here you can see the image, nginx image is exposed port is 80, but we are using 81. That's the problem. This image is not serve the data. So let me stop that container of docker ps. So docker ps docker rm minus f is the forcefully we delete and stop the container. So 76 the container name. So docker, just copy that command is best way. So instead of 81, if we use now 80, so docker yes, we can see now container is running. So curl host. So now we can see the nginx default page is showing. Same thing we can also use from browser also, but for time saving we are just showing from here. So now we can see the image is showing the website. So these are, you can basically RD the image portion. So what command I use, and they also show here. So docker ps, you can see the container, running container, then inspect the container name and grab the IP address also. Like if we have to see the IP address of this container, so we already know docker inspect the container name is web, I think. So web, so if I type web, then it will inspect spelling is mistake in. So it will show all the data of our properties of that image. So from that we can just grab it, means like we can filter it, something we are looking for, IP address. So we can see the IP address this. So we can also like get another thing if you want to look. So these you can find anything from that properties of that image. So we can also use docker image history to nginx. We can see the layer of the use of image. We already use this command. So how we can fix this error which I mentioned here. So there's a step is here. So some way we can fix this. These steps I just put it here. So another command is like when we create any container from any Docker file. So what problem we face? Like it's continuously crashing or getting low. So docker run dash name. This is the name of the container, and this image we already created. So like in the basic of Docker class, which was I think dash 7, we already discussed how we can create an image from a Docker file. So here I already have a Docker file in my local PC. So, but somehow my local Docker is not working. Let me copy this file. mkdir 3 cd3 cat. Make sure this capital and spelling is perfect. Docker, because I do lots of mistake in spelling. So I need to also create an index file there. Okay, so by this 3 file we can create a Docker file. So let me create a Docker image. So Docker build -t if you want to name any image. So web1, then the Docker file location. So our Docker file is here, so we can just put it here. So just wait a little bit. So you can see our image is created. So we can see web1 image is created. So now if we face any problem, when creating the image, what type of problem we can face? Like, let me ll this file. So let me grab that Docker file. So when creating the image, like maybe we mistakenly use different tag, then that tag have different command. So maybe that's the cause you have facing problem when create the image, or when we run any package or any dependency, maybe we do some mistake, or some dependency we need but we didn't add that one. Like we just put run apt-get update, we didn't add to install the nginx. So if we don't install the nginx, then the working directory of that container is not available. So then when the image is created, it will get an error. So I also face like when we copy the index file, we need to make sure the index file's location is perfect. Then we also make sure the expose port is accurate. So like when we grab that image, like this is Ubuntu, if we use nginx image, then you can see the nginx image port is what. Then we need to make sure this export is perfect. And also we face some problem if we cmd command, this command, if we do some mistake, or instead of -g, if we put only g, then you also face some problem when create the image. So just give you one problem, like if we create a directory like w1, then if we move the Docker file to w2, so w1, then now if I want to docker build -t web w2, just put w2 image name, then now Docker image is in the w1 file, but still we face some error. Like if I want that location, still you get some error because the index file's location is different. Okay, so you can see that the index file is like, let me get in. So now if you get in cd w1, so our Docker file is here now. So if you get the Docker file, so let's try to copy the index file to our container, but this index file is not this location. This index file is one up like index file. Like if you want to ll, this index file is not here, so we need to like ll, then dot, then is this index file is here. Okay, so this is the reason basically this error will get when we create the image. But this is the best way to when we create any image, make sure your Docker file and in the root location and your apps and other things is the subfolder. So that way basically you will get more easier and more professional way to create the Docker image. So let me back So like move w1 index, docker file here. So we need to use this structure. Docker file should be in the root location. Then if you want to use any image or any application, then create a folder like app or your website, like w1 is a website, then you can put your website in this location, but make sure Docker file is the root location. This is the perfect way, otherwise you have to do lots of R&D and you will face lots of problems. Okay, so this is one thing when you create any image, you will face those type of error also. So let me show another image. So we already discussed the image issue. So like bad copy path, missing dependency, and wrong syntax in the Docker file. So how you will get those things, you can get it here. Okay, so now I will see, I will show you some command. So like every Docker image, like here is, if we run Docker image ls, so you can see every image has a size. So it takes some storage in your local PC. So like if you want to see how system occupied your storage, then you can just run the Docker system df. This you can see details of your PC. So like here is 4 images running. One is active with this container. So that image size is 532.6 MB, and this replica image is also this size. The container is only one running, and the size is this. Local volume is 1, only using 504 byte, and build cache also. Okay, so like if you want to see my local PC, same command if I run here, like Docker system df, you can see lots of file and lots of storage is here. So it will also take more time because here is lots of images and lots of container related issue, some build issue, some big cache issue, lots of storage is here. So it's basically it will take some time. Okay, so let's wait for a few seconds to come that up. Then we will just talk this command like Docker system prune. If we want to delete everything in our system like volume, network, can delete all everything if we use Docker system prune. Docker container prune, if we want to delete all container. Docker image prune, if we want to delete all type of image. So you can see now this is coming. So here is 60 images, where is 5 is active, that means 5 container is running. This size is 11.21 GB, and container 6, 3 active, using 322 MB, and local volume you can see 33 local volume, where is using 19.82 GB, and cache it also used 21.24 GB. So lots of data is here. That's why it's taking long time. Okay, so let me back to the documentation. So here I also give some pro tips, Docker troubleshooting. So like we can see the stop container using Docker ps-a. We can see the log continuously if you want to see the when you're using web server Nginx or Apache. So if you want to see the continuous log, then you can use Docker log -f, then the container name. Then we can see the continuous log is coming. We can see the logs to troubleshoot. So if you want to log in any container, so you already know Docker exe-it container name, then use the bash script or sh script or bmesh, what script available that container support. We can see from the image from the Docker hub which bash script is available in that container. You can get it from there. So using that bash script, then you can get in the login that container. So Docker inspect container, you can see the properties of that container. Then Docker top command, Docker top, then container. We know if you want to see any service is running in Linux, we can use the top command. So for Docker, we're using the Docker, then top, then the container name. Then we can see what service is running in that container. So Docker version is see the Docker version system info is showing the Docker system information, and Docker help we get the like a Docker command help. Everything we already discussed, but we are doing a recap. Just I give you a recap basically. So like we already see the image related command image section. Just give you overview. So Docker pull image name, we can download the image Docker images or Docker image ls. Both command is working fine. You can see the images in our local PC. Docker rami, then image name, we can delete the image. Docker tag image, then we can tag any image. That means we can copy a different name like this. So Docker build -t if you want to give any name and the location of the Docker file. Docker inspect image name, we can like see the image details, and history is the layer of that image. What layer is using, what command is using, we can see Docker history command. So for container command, we can use Docker run, then the image name. If we want to like right away when we container is run, we can get login, then you can use Docker run -it, then image name, then the bin bash, then right away when the container created, we can get login that container. So if we use -d, then it will be run in the background, which is called detached mode. Then if we want to give any name of that container, we can use -" name tag, then the name of the container. If we use -p, this is the host port and this is the container port. Make sure for visa for mounting anything. For environment, if we use any environment variable, then you can use this. Then Docker ps -a is showing the like stop and running wall container. Docker stop the container name, it will stop the container, start, it will start the container, restart, it will restart the container, rm, it will remove the container, exe-it, then container, then shell, it will log into the container, then Docker logs, it will show, then container, it will show the log of that container, inspect the details or properties of that container. Volume, also we can already shown in my volume section. So Docker volume, create the name, it will create the volume with this name. In Docker volume ls, you can see all volume available in our local PC. Docker volume inspect, you can see the specific volume details. Then we can delete for volume by using rm. Then for mounting, we can use this command. For network issue, we can use the network ls. For creating any network, for just Docker network, then create the network name, inspect, same way you can see the network details. For connecting any network to any container, so like Docker network, then connect, then what network you use, give that name, then what container you want to use to this network, give that container name. So in all this network command and hands-on we already saw in our network section. So for deleting any network, just Docker network rm, the network name. So here I also give some Docker build command to Docker build -t, give the name of that image. So here I use like if I want to Docker build, when you use -f, if the Docker file is not the same name or if the Docker file has different name, so we can put the exact location. Like if our file is -f, then home Ubuntu, then image file or something different file, then we need to make sure we put the exact location, then the name of the image if you want to put -t. So if you want to delete all image, you use Docker image prune. So Docker stop command we already know, Docker stop, then Docker ps -q, all id is showing, then one by one it will stop. Docker rm, same way we can get stop and running all container, it will delete all those container. Rm I is the for basically image I. So when I use Docker rmi, it will delete this image. So I also add another command, Docker image -q, that means all images id is showing in that command, then this rmi command will delete one by one image. Or we can use Docker system prune, it will basically delete all image in your local PC. And for like take your image to another PC or share your image to any other one if you didn't upload your image in the Docker Hub. So this way we can Docker save -o, then give the name of that file, the tar file, then the image, then this way this image will be make a tar file, then you can copy this image to your flash drive and give it to your like a friend or some other person. Then from that flash drive, if you want to take that image to your local PC, then just use Docker load -i, then the name of the file or the a specific location of the file. So Docker login, so when you're pushing any Docker, so we use Docker login, then -u, the username of your Docker Hub account, then it will ask for the secret access key, then you type the secret access key, then you can see you are successfully logged in. Then you are able to upload your image. For make sure when you're uploading your image, make sure your image is tagged this way, your name of the Docker Hub account, and then your image name and the like tag, if you any tag you use, like version 1, version 2, something like this. For pushing or the uploading the image, you just use the push command. For downloading, you just use the pull command. So Docker Compose we'll see in the next class. So then we'll discuss the Docker Compose section. So useful one linear is like when you run in engines command, use this. So if we want to use any environment, like when you're using MySQL database, then we need MySQL username and password. Then we pass in the environment variable -e MySQL root password. We use the what password we provide, and if we want to give the password, then we use the same way -e MySQL password, and we will pass the password in the environment variable. And what type of variable we use in MySQL, we can get everything in MySQL image, which is available in Docker Hub. Okay. So Docker exe, then container ID you can see, and get login to the like container. And here is some basic practice for like advanced level, and if you want to like image everything, you can use Docker image spool. So environment variable you can also use .env. This step up, but this is like advanced level. Docker ignore, if you want to when create any image, don't want to add something in that image, then we can use Docker ignore also. So these are like basically a little bit advanced level. So that's all for today's video. So if you found this video is helpful, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe the channel.